Welcome to Direct Response Podcast. I'm your host, Travis Ketchum, founder of Campaign Refinery. Here with, as always, David Cartolano of Wealthy Inbox. Hey, man.
Hey, what's up, Travis?
We're just, we're living the dream here, man. We're just knocking things down and taking names. So today we're doing something really interesting, a little outside of our normal realm. I know I've dealt with this. I think you have too. But email spoofing, man, it's a thing. It's weird. You got to have your guard up. I worry all the time about my boomer parents and in-laws when it comes to spoofed emails, stealing their information and looking shady. But let's just kind of break it down, man. What is a spoofed email?
Yeah, a spoofed email is an email that has been faked in order to get you to click on a link, in order to get you to reply with some bank account information. They're trying to steal information from you to do things that aren't in your best interest, right? Don't
Importantly,
take candy from strangers.
by pretending to be somebody else.
Exactly.
Right? That is the key element of a spoof, is they are pretending to be someone that you know, like, and trust. A bank, Facebook, your family. These are, in our context, we're usually worried about our brands being spoofed, right? Because we're an email service provider. So we're worried about our senders being spoofed by another sender, pretending to be them to somehow compromise, their logins either to our platform or for their users or some kind of value exchange or snatch. But that is what we're usually most afraid of. So how do you usually spot spoofed emails, and how can you suss out whether it's the real deal or something fake?
Yeah, so I have like a two-step system, right? The first step is the content itself. If they are demanding that you need to pay and there's urgent attention and you have to, if they come across as a drop everything right now or you will die type urgency, that sets me, that sets the alarm bell going off. I've gotten a few spoofed emails from Facebook and they're actually very, very realistic, but the whole urgent attention on your account or it's going to be suspended forever. I'm like, yeah, okay. All right. So the content is one thing I look at. I take a look at, they'll sometimes put in the logos. They'll put in like the actual colors of the brand. But what I like to do is I like to take a look at legitimate emails from the brand, take a look at their content, and then take a look at the spoofed email content and see how things line up. So, if the colors are a little off, if the logo's in a different place, that doesn't really make sense because some spammers they're so greedy, they don't lie right. You know what I mean? So that's one of the ways I see it. Number two is actually looking, not clicking the links, but looking at where the email is coming from. So I'll look at the from, and this might be hard to do on mobile, but I will look at where the email was sent from. So in Gmail, there's a way to like hit the little triangle, the tiny little triangle button and pull up a menu underneath the from email and say like, okay, where's this been sent from? And if they say they're sending something from PayPal, but the domain does not say PayPal, well, then it ain't PayPal. Okay, so that's one way I can look. I also...
Maybe from papyall.com.
Yeah, exactly. So right there, spelling mistakes inside of the domain. If they're sending from support.desk.paypal.us, it's like, I don't think that's actually PayPal. All right. So if they have exaggerated domain names and things are spelled wrong, that's another thing, spelling mistakes. Like if you misspell the word the, you're probably not a legitimate PayPal. You're probably not PayPal, right?
There's no way to pass 14 layers of bureaucracy before that email was allowed to be configured and sent.
Exactly. So those are my systems. In Gmail, you can also go and to the top right corner of the email on a desktop and then hit show original, and it will show you like the from name and where the from email, like what domain it's using, and you will see the sketchy stuff. All right. And if it don't look right, it's because it's not right. Delete it. Okay. And that's it. So those are my methods. What about you, Travis?
Yeah, it's very much the same. First I just say, does this pass the sniff test? And does it smell for being legitimate, because our guts are pretty good at identifying usually about is something quite right or not. And then just like you, the lower hanging fruit next is looking at that sending domain. Sometimes that's a huge red flag. The really compelling ones from Facebook, they're little sneaky bastards sometimes, and they can sneak in what looks like the real domain. And so you have to then, I go to view source because I'm a nerd. I start looking at, okay, well, what sending platform did they use to wrap this in? Does that look legitimate? If it's curious at that point, and if I see, for example, usually those automated ones are usually about account-based stuff. It's triggered by some kind of developer-based email system as opposed to an email marketing tool. And so if it's wrapped in an email marketing tool like an ActiveCampaign, or God forbid if it was Campaign Refinery, I'd really freak out. But if it's some other email marketing tool instead of like a SendGrid or a MailGun or something that's more of a under the hood type service, that again sets off an alarm bell, because PayPal, as the example here, is not going to send you an automated email about an account breach from ActiveCampaign. Like, they're just not going to do it. And I'm not taking ActiveCampaign. Just insert email service provider here. They're not doing it. It's a code level transactional trigger that they hand coded that email, and so it's going to look different. But I fully understand that most people don't have the technical expertise or the comfort to look at that the way I do. So here's what I tell my parents and my in-laws when they are like, how do I know if this email is spoofed? If you think that there is a question about an account or a sensitive thing you need to deal with, don't click anything in the email. Open a fresh browser, type in this case, paypal.com, log in direct on their website. Don't call a phone number in the email, because that might be a call center pretending to be PayPal, right? Go to the actual website of the actual vendor or the actual merchant that you're trying to deal with and find contact information on their site, or log in to see if there's any truly urgent thing. Is there a credit card expiring? Is there a payment thing changing? Are your login credentials compromised? And if when you log into the actual site or you go call the number of the actual business, they say, yes, there really is something wrong, then you can proceed and deal with it. But oftentimes, if it doesn't pass that smell test and you don't have the technical ability to really vet, is this email real or not, just go straight to the source. Ignore the email. Use the email as a tip-off, but then just go straight to the source and try to deal with it there. Chances are, your gut's probably not wrong. It probably is a spoof if it feels that way. And you'll find that out, and then you can just mark it as spam and move on with your life. And the brand will obviously usually want to know as well, right? So PayPal wants this to stop even more than you do. So sending them a copy of that so that they can then escalate, hey, email service provider who allowed this to send on this domain, we're going to mark this domain as problematic. We're going to, as the brand, raise hell with the email service provider who let that send out so that it ceases operation. And while it may not fix it forever, it may be whack-a-mole. The person who tried to do it probably will take that same data set and go somewhere else and spin it up and try to send from different domains, so on and so forth. You're lopping off the options and reducing their ability to unfairly profit by stealing your information. So that is kind of the nutshell of what it is and how to deal with it. I think the nerd test and the in-law test are two good tests to think about when you're considering how to deal with a spoofed email.
I like the in-law test. I think a variation of the in-law test is a screenshot test, where all you have to do is take a look at the email. If it seems weird, take a screenshot of it and then go to the support portal on the software on your account and say, hey, I got this email. Like, was this really you guys? And they would be more than happy to answer that, because you're at least trying to address the issue. If it's a real issue, you're at least trying to address it and just make sure that it's not spoof or spam. Because you can delete the email. It's fine. If you have a bad gut feeling, delete the email, screenshot the email, delete it, send it to the support desk. And if the support desk says, yeah, that was a legitimate email, then you can address the issue. But yeah, if your gut's giving you a bad feeling, just get rid of it.
Yep. Well, I think that kind of, that's that about spoof emails from my perspective, unless you got anything else.
Nope, that's perfect. So just be careful out there, guys.
Yeah, be careful out there. If you want to learn more about it, we have an article linked down below about spoof emails, how to sort of suss out what they are, if it is one, and what to do next. If you want to use an email platform to send legitimate email, That's where Campaign Refinery comes in. We got a link down in the description as well. And if you want to be the antithesis, the complete opposite of spoof email, and you want to send out the most legit email possible, and you are scaling it as a newsletter, we got my boy David Cartolano over here. David, where do they learn more about scaling and exiting a newsletter?
Absolutely. So if you want to dress up your newsletter to get it ready for investors for a profitable exit, you can go to wealthyinbox.news. That's my newsletter on how to sell a newsletter. And by the way, I have seen a couple of newsletters that were spam, right? And I was not very happy when I found out. So if you are one of those spoofers who's listening to this, I have a few choice words for you that Travis isn't going to let me say. So you can go to wealthyinbox.news, and if you're one of the good ones.
One of the good ones. That's all we want to deal with. All right, man.
That's right.
Well, thanks for your time. We'll catch you guys later.